What sign is in Scorpio's destiny? There's an invisible force that pulls Scorpio towards certain souls, even when they try to resist. As if destiny had marked this meeting long before you existed on this plane. Some call it coincidence, but Scorpio knows the truth. Nothing happens by chance. There's a sign engraved in your astral path, the one that awakens your most primitive instincts and reveals who you truly are in the depths of your essence. And today, in this video, you're going to discover which sign the universe chose to cross your destiny. If you just arrived here, subscribe to the channel now, turn on notifications, and leave your like, because what I'm about to reveal can completely change how you see your most intense connections. And believe me, you'll want to watch until the very last second of this video. Scorpio is the sign of rebirth, of the soul that emerges from its own ashes, and of love that crosses entire lifetimes. There's no middle ground when you cross a Scorpio's gaze. Either you dive into the depths of that dark ocean, or you run away afraid of losing yourself in it. But there's a secret that few people know. There's a specific energy in the zodiac, created exactly to balance all of Scorpio's devastating intensity. A sign that doesn't fear the Scorpio abyss, because it carries within itself a darkness as magnetic and fascinating as yours. This connection isn't just chemical or physical. It's cosmic, transcendental. It's the type of bond that the universe repeats, life after life, incarnation after incarnation, until the spiritual learning between these souls is finally complete. Many believe that Scorpio falls in love easily, but they're completely wrong. They only truly surrender when they feel there's a greater purpose in that encounter. Scorpio seeks their soulmate, but not that romantic fantasy version from fairy tales. They search for the mirror of their own power, someone capable of bearing the crushing weight of truth without shattering. And that's exactly why the sign destined for Scorpio isn't just compatible in the conventional sense. It's your greatest challenge, your most honest mirror, and your inevitable destiny. If you were born under the sign of Scorpio, prepare your soul for what comes now. Today we're going to reveal which signs are truly connected to your destiny, not just through romantic love, but through the deep spiritual purpose that exists between you, shaped before you even stepped on this earth. Watch until the end, because the last sign on this list isn't what you're imagining right now, and it can completely transform the way you see all your past, present, and future connections. Destiny is about to be revealed. Let's begin. When Scorpio meets Pisces, the universe whispers an ancient truth. Here begins your true spiritual awakening. Pisces is the water that dissolves all barriers. Scorpio is the water that transforms everything it touches. When these two forces unite, they create the complete cycle of human emotion, the beginning and end of the soul's journey on this earthly plane. Pisces achieves something no other sign can with such ease. It understands Scorpio's deep silence without needing a single word. It feels with surgical precision what the Scorpio desperately tries to hide from other people, and this completely disarms them. It's a connection that transcends this life, almost karmic, where one heals the other's wounds without even realizing they're doing it. Scorpio is the fearless diver into the deepest shadows of the human psyche. Pisces is the infinite ocean where they dive without fear of drowning. When these two souls meet, emotions cease to be just feelings and become portals to other dimensions of consciousness. Pisces teaches Scorpio something they resist learning for entire lifetimes, the supreme power of true forgiveness. And Scorpio, in return, teaches Pisces the sacred art of resistance, the ability to not dissolve completely in others' suffering. It's the perfect fusion between pain that transforms and redemption that liberates. A love that echoes from other existences and doesn't always end the way we expect, but that always profoundly transforms both souls involved. This connection is marked by prophetic dreams, synchronicities impossible to ignore, and that disturbing sensation of having known this person for millennia. Many Scorpios report that when they're beside Pisces, time literally seems to stop. as if the entire universe froze just to witness that sacred encounter. But this meeting is also a spiritual trial. Pisces awakens all that vulnerable sensitivity that Scorpio spent their entire life trying to bury in the depths of their being. And this forces them to face their greatest existential fear, feeling too much, loving too much, surrendering too much. When Scorpio and Pisces unite, they're not just living a relationship, they're fulfilling a soul contract, written long before they were born, with ink made from tears of past lives and promises whispered between the veils of existence. Virgo doesn't appear in Scorpio's life by simple chance or cosmic coincidence. They arrive as a sacred guardian of universal balance, or as an implacable mirror of that absolute control that Scorpio tries to maintain over every aspect of their existence. While Scorpio navigates the turbulent waters of pure emotion and devastating intensity, Virgo is governed by crystalline logic and meticulous observation of every detail. But it's precisely this fundamental difference that creates the irresistible magnetism between them. Virgo surgically analyzes what Scorpio feels in the depths of their being. Scorpio viscerally feels what Virgo only thinks rationally. It's a perfect cosmic dance between reason that structures and instinct that guides, between the conscious mind and the ocean of the collective unconscious. Scorpio is the internal fire that consumes everything in its path, transforming matter into ashes and ashes into rebirth. Virgo is the wise wind that tries to control this fire, not to extinguish it, but to direct it constructively. When these two forces meet and decide to unite, one becomes the teacher of the other. Scorpio finally learns to organize their internal emotional chaos, to give structure to that storm of feelings that always threatens to destroy everything. Virgo, in turn, learns to dive without paralyzing fear into the unknown territory of deep emotions, to feel without needing to explain everything rationally. It's a sacred union of mutual healing and spiritual discipline, where burning passion harmoniously blends with learning that elevates consciousness, where the heart teaches the mind to feel, and the mind teaches the heart to think. In real life, this relationship is intense and often challenging. Virgo shows Scorpio all those crucial small details they deliberately ignore when blinded by emotion, and Scorpio reveals to Virgo a liberating truth. Not everything in this universe needs to be dissected, analyzed, or rationally explained. There are mysteries that must remain mysteries. There are feelings that lose their magic when we try to fit them into logical categories. When these two signs learn not to destroy each other with their differences, when they finally understand they came to complement and not to cancel each other out, they form an incredibly powerful bond. It's the type of mature love that accelerates the soul's evolution, that awakens higher levels of consciousness, and transforms both into more complete versions of themselves. Virgo is the destiny that teaches Scorpio that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And Scorpio is the destiny that teaches Virgo that feeling deeply isn't losing control. It's finally truly finding it. This encounter isn't easy. It was never meant to be. But it's necessary, deeply necessary for both spiritual growth, because sometimes the universe doesn't send us what we want. It sends us exactly what we need to evolve. When Scorpio crosses Capricorn's path, there's no coincidence in this encounter. There's mission, purpose, and destiny intertwined. One reveals to the other the true price of absolute power and the responsibilities that come with it. Both are signs of incomparable strength, but with completely distinct natures that complement each other in a fascinating way. Scorpio dominates the invisible realm, that underground world where the most secret desires dwell, the deepest fears, and the emotions no one dares confess aloud. Capricorn, on the other hand, dominates the visible world, the realm of matter and concrete manifestation. They govern the structures that sustain society, the time that devours everything, and the ambition that builds empires. When these two cosmic powers meet, destiny is demanding something specific, the perfect balance between the spiritual and the material, between what is felt in the depths of the soul and what is built in the physical world. It's the sacred union between the magician who manipulates invisible energies and the architect who erects cathedrals that defy time itself. Capricorn teaches Scorpio to channel all that overwhelming intensity into tangible purpose, into achievements that leave permanent marks on the real world. Scorpio, in turn, teaches Capricorn something they deeply fear: to truly feel, to dive into the dangerous waters of emotions without losing that precious control they value so much. It's like the primordial encounter between the eternal ice of the highest mountains and the volcanic fire that burns at Earth's center. Together they don't destroy each other. They create something solid, durable, and eternal. Scorpio represents the inner underworld, that realm of shadows where few have the courage to enter. Capricorn represents the majestic mountain that challenges the sky, the highest peak where the air is thin and only the strong survive. Both scale the impossible. Both conquer territories others don't even dare to dream of. But they do it in radically different ways, and it's precisely in this difference that the magic of this encounter resides. When they truly unite, when they decide to stop competing and start collaborating, they learn together to master power without being mastered by it. They learn that true strength isn't in subjugating the other, but in elevating each other to unimaginable heights. In real life, this relationship is marked by a powerful mixture of deep admiration and reverent fear. Capricorn sees in Scorpio what the superficial world can never understand: pure intensity distilled in its most potent form. Scorpio sees in Capricorn that unshakable strength they always secretly sought, the stability that doesn't suffocate, the focus that doesn't blind, and the discipline that doesn't imprison. But the destiny between these two was never meant to be easy or comfortable. Each encounter serves as a cosmic reminder of a fundamental truth. True power isn't in controlling the other, in bending someone else's will to yours. Real power, the kind that transcends lives and crosses eternities, lies in controlling yourself, in mastering your own internal demons before trying to master anything external. Capricorn and Scorpio together create an empire, but not an empire of territories or riches. They build an empire of the soul, a spiritual fortress that no external force can tear down. This is the meeting of titans, of those born to lead, to transform, and to leave legacies that echo through centuries. When these two unite with pure intention, they don't just change their own lives, they change the world around them. Cancer is the past that Scorpio cannot forget, no matter how many lives they live or how many transformations they go through. It's the memory that creeps back when they finally believe they've overcome everything, when they think they've buried all emotions at the bottom of their soul's ocean. Both are water signs, deeply guided by emotion, intuition, and memory that transcends linear time. But there's a crucial difference between them that makes this encounter so intense and necessary. Cancer represents the primordial origin, the cosmic womb from which everything is born, the ancestral home we carry engraved in our cellular memory. Scorpio represents radical transformation, the death that precedes each rebirth, the fire that purifies through destruction. When these two forces meet again in this life, it's as if the universe stops for a moment and solemnly declares, here is what you still need to heal before moving forward. Here is the wound you pretended didn't exist. Scorpio spends their entire life building impenetrable walls around their heart, trying to protect themselves from the vulnerability they secretly consider their greatest weakness. But Cancer has an almost magical ability to cross all these defenses without even trying. Cancer awakens Scorpio's most vulnerable and sensitive side, the one they kept under layers and layers of apparent strength, absolute control, and an emotional armor that took entire lifetimes to build. Cancer is the spiritual home that Scorpio abandoned long ago, perhaps in another life, perhaps in another dimension of existence. It's the painful and sweet echo of past lives, the reunion with old promises that were made and never kept, with oaths whispered under stars that no longer exist. It's the embrace that heals wounds you didn't even know you carried. It's the bond that hurts, precisely because it touches what's most true inside you. This connection is deep in a way that frightens even Scorpio, who thought they knew all possible depths. It's emotional on levels that transcend the human. It's almost spiritual, almost divine in its intensity. Cancer teaches Scorpio a lesson they resist learning with all their might. There's no greater power in the universe than love that welcomes unconditionally, without judgments, without impossible demands. And that truly healing is infinitely more difficult, more courageous, and more powerful than destroying. Anyone can destroy. Scorpio knows this better than anyone. But to rebuild, repair, heal the deepest wounds, that requires a strength few possess. In real life, when these two signs cross paths, it's absolutely common for emotions to be so intense, they're almost suffocating. There are moments when it seems they'll drown together in this ocean of feelings that never stops growing. But it's precisely this overwhelming intensity that transforms them into more evolved versions of themselves. Cancer shows Scorpio that feeling deeply isn't weakness, as they always believed. It's ancestral wisdom. It's courage in its purest form. And Scorpio teaches Cancer that true love, the kind that's really worth it, needs abysmal depth, not excessive protection based on the fear of losing. Teaches that holding on too tightly is the fastest way to lose what you love most. It's the type of encounter that marks both souls forever, that leaves luminous scars that shine in the dark, because it touches what's most intimate, most sacred, most true, the heart of the soul that lives beyond the physical body. When Scorpio and Cancer meet, they're not just experiencing an earthly relationship. They're healing wounds from multiple lives, paying old karmic debts, and freeing each other from invisible chains that bound them for eternities. This encounter hurts because it heals, and it heals because finally, after so long, both found someone who understands the silent language of the wounded soul seeking redemption. And now we arrive at the sign you probably didn't expect to see on this list. The sign that challenges everything Scorpio believes they know about themselves and about love. I'm talking about Taurus, the opposite force that the universe placed in Scorpio's path, not to destroy them, but to complete them. Taurus and Scorpio are opposite signs in the zodiac, separated by exactly 180 degrees on the astrological wheel. And there's a cosmic truth that few understand. Opposites in the zodiac don't repel each other. They complete each other in ways that defy all human logic. When Scorpio meets Taurus, they meet their inverted reflection in the universe's mirror. They meet someone as stubborn as they are, as intense as they are, but in a completely different way that fascinates and irritates them at the same time. Scorpio is the deep water that hides mysteries in its abyssal depths. Taurus is the fertile earth that sustains all forms of life, firm and unwavering, like an ancestral mountain. When water meets earth, they don't destroy each other. They create life. But this creation isn't easy. It was never meant to be. It's a process of constant friction, of collision between two titans who refuse to yield even a millimeter of their sacred territory. Taurus represents desire in its most physical, most tangible, most sensorial form. It's pleasure that can be touched, tasted, felt through all five senses. Scorpio, on the other hand, represents desire in its most intense, most transformative, most transcendental form. It's pleasure that goes beyond the body and touches the soul directly. When these two unite, they create explosive alchemy. Taurus teaches Scorpio to slow down, to savor the present moment instead of always being obsessed with what's hidden in the shadows. Teaches that not everything needs to be deep and mysterious all the time, that sometimes beauty lies precisely in the simplicity of things. Scorpio teaches Taurus that there's much more beyond the comfortable surface they value so much. Shows that life's true intensity is in the depth, not in the safe zone of the surface. This is a connection of constant challenge. Taurus wants stability, predictability, and comfort. Scorpio wants transformation, intensity, and constant renewal. Taurus wants to build something that lasts forever without changing. Scorpio wants to destroy and rebuild infinitely until reaching perfection. In real life, when these two meet, the attraction is magnetic, almost impossible to resist. It's as if two primordial forces of nature collided and created a gravitational field so powerful that nothing around remains the same. But this attraction comes accompanied by constant tension. Both are possessive, both are jealous, both refuse to yield control. And it's precisely in this battle for power that the greatest lesson of this encounter resides. Taurus shows Scorpio that security isn't prison as they always believed. That having deep roots doesn't mean being trapped. It means being free to grow without fear of being uprooted by the next storm. Scorpio shows Taurus that change isn't threat, as they always feared. That transformation doesn't mean losing essence. It means discovering even more powerful versions of yourself that were dormant. This is the encounter of desire that challenges, that tests, that forces both to evolve beyond their known limits. It's not an easy or comfortable love. It's a love that burns, that transforms, that leaves permanent marks on both souls. When Taurus and Scorpio decide to stop fighting against each other and start fighting side by side, they become an unstoppable force. Taurus's stability combined with Scorpio's intensity creates something that not even eternity can break. But to reach that point, both need to learn the zodiac's most difficult lesson. That true power isn't in dominating the other. It's in learning to dance together without stepping on each other's feet. Taurus is the destiny that teaches Scorpio that pleasure isn't sin. It's sacred. That the body isn't just a temporary vehicle, it's a temple that deserves to be honored. And Scorpio is the destiny that teaches Taurus that the soul isn't just an abstract concept. It's the most real and powerful force that exists. This is the love that challenges all rules, that breaks all patterns and forces both to become more complete and evolved versions of themselves. It's the final test, the final trial, before Scorpio understands the ultimate truth. Now you finally understand, Scorpio. Destiny was never a fixed map drawn in the stars before you were born. It's a cosmic spiral in constant movement that repeats life after life, incarnation after incarnation, until the deepest lesson is finally learned and integrated into your soul's essence. Each sign that crosses your path carries a sacred purpose, a specific mission in your spiritual evolution journey. Pisces came to heal wounds you didn't even know you carried from other lives. To teach that forgiveness is the greatest power that exists, greater even than the revenge you master so well. Virgo appeared to teach the delicate balance between feeling and thinking, between diving into emotions and maintaining the mental clarity necessary to not drown in them. Capricorn arrived to polish your raw power like a diamond, to show that true strength isn't in destroying, but in building something that crosses eternities. Cancer came to remind you of your deepest origins, to reconnect you with that sacred vulnerability you buried under layers of emotional armor throughout so many lives. And Taurus appeared to test your deepest desire, to show that intensity and stability aren't opposites, they're necessary complements to each other. But there's a final truth that needs to be revealed now, something few Scorpios understand until they go through all these transformative experiences. At the end of this entire cosmic journey, after meeting all these signs and learning all these painful and necessary lessons, you discover something revolutionary. You yourself, Scorpio, are the answer you always sought in all these external connections. Each person who crossed your path was just a mirror reflecting parts of you that you didn't yet have the courage to face. Each love was a lesson about who you really are when all masks fall. You are Pisces when you choose to forgive instead of destroy. You are Virgo when you organize your internal chaos. You are Capricorn when you channel your intensity into purpose. You are Cancer when you finally allow someone to see your vulnerability. You are Taurus when you learn that pleasure is also sacred. everything Scorpio touches, they inevitably transform, including and especially themselves. They destroy to rebuild something stronger. They love to be reborn from their own ashes. They suffer deeply to awaken to higher levels of consciousness. This is the sacred path of those who aren't afraid of the raw, naked truth, even when it burns like purifying fire, of those who understand that soul evolution always passes through the symbolic death of who we were for the birth of who we're destined to be. Scorpio's true destiny was never to find someone to complete them, because you're already complete. The destiny is to transcend the human plane of limited emotions and touch the divine that always existed within you. And everyone who crosses your path feels this in their skin, feels this transformative force that cannot be explained just with words. Nothing remains exactly the same after a true encounter with an awakened Scorpio. You didn't come to live in ordinary love. You came to experience connections that destroy and rebuild, that hurt and heal, that kill old versions and give birth to more evolved versions. The universe placed these signs in your path, not for you to choose one and discard the others, but for you to learn from each of them and integrate these lessons into the totality of your being. Because in the end, Scorpio, you don't need anyone to be complete. But when you choose to share your journey with someone, that person will never be the same. And neither will you. Now tell me, leave here in the comments, do you believe that destiny chooses who crosses your path, or that we magnetically attract exactly the experiences and people we need to evolve? Which of these signs has already crossed your path and left permanent marks on your soul? Which one do you still hope to meet in this life? Scorpio, your deep and intense heart has a wisdom that goes beyond what the mind can comprehend. Trust that wisdom. Trust your infallible instinct. And if this message touched something deep inside you, if you felt these words were written specifically for your soul, then leave your like now, subscribe to this channel to continue this mystical journey with me. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any content, and share this video with that special Scorpio who needs to hear these truths. Because the universe is always watching, always orchestrating encounters that seem like coincidence, but are pure destiny in action. And perhaps, just perhaps, this video reaching you today wasn't chance. It was the sign you were waiting for, the confirmation you sought, the answer whispered by the stars that you asked for so much. Scorpio's destiny is to be the phoenix that is eternally reborn. And each person you love, each heart you touch, each soul you transform is just another flame feeding that sacred fire that never goes out. Until the next video, Scorpio, keep diving into the depth, keep transforming everything around you, keep being that force of nature you were born to be. Because the world needs your intensity, the world needs your truth, the world needs you exactly as you are.